The observation deck of the Harmony of Stars was quiet except for the soft hum of the ship's systems. Commander Tejo stood with his hands clasped behind his back, all four of his eyes fixed on the large viewing window. The stars looked the same as they always did from this part of space, but something was different today. Something that had pulled him from his rest cycle and brought him here in the middle of the night. "Commander, you requested my presence." Science Officer Neri entered the deck, her footsteps light against the polished floor. Tejo turned slightly. "Yes, the sensors picked up an anomaly 3 hours ago. I want your opinion on what we're seeing." He gestured to the control panel, and a holographic display appeared in the center of the room. It showed a section of space near the outer boundary of Coalition territory. A small blip moved slowly across the projected star field. "A ship?" Nari asked, her head tilting as she studied the display. "We believe so," Tejo replied. "But it doesn't match any known design in our database, and its movement pattern is unusual." Nari stepped closer to the projection, her fingers moving across the controls to enhance the image. The blip expanded, revealing a dark, angular shape that seemed to absorb the light around it rather than reflect it. "Have we attempted communication?" she asked. Communications Officer Juwu has been sending standard greeting protocols for the past 2 hours. No response yet. The door to the observation deck slid open again, and Communications Officer Juwu entered, looking concerned. "Commander, we've detected an energy surge from the unknown vessel. It appears to be scanning us." Tejo's upper eyes narrowed. "Are they preparing weapons?" "Unclear," Juwu replied. "The energy signature doesn't match any weapon system we know of. It's more like they're taking our picture." Diplomat Juan arrived next, his ceremonial robes suggesting he had been in the middle of preparing for the day's activities. As the official representative of the Galactic Coalition's Council, his presence at any first contact scenario was required by protocol. "What do we know so far?" Juan asked, moving to stand beside Tejo. "Very little," Tejo admitted. "The vessel is approximately 1/5 the size of the Harmony *, but our scans can't penetrate its hull to determine crew size or internal configuration. How did it get this close without being detected by our outer sensor array?" Juan's tone was sharp, concerned. Neri looked up from her console. "That's what troubles me. Either their stealth technology is far beyond our capabilities, or what?" Tejo prompted. "Or they wanted us to find them now, not earlier," she finished. The implication hung in the air. If true, it suggested a level of strategic thinking that was uncommon among newly discovered species. Most first contacts in Coalition history had been with civilizations that had just developed basic space travel, their approach detected years in advance. "The Council must be informed," Juan said. "This could be a significant encounter." Tejo nodded. "Already done. They've authorized us to proceed with standard first contact protocols. The Harmony * was designed for this purpose, after all. The Harmony of Stars * was the pride of the Coalition fleet. Built not for war, the Coalition had known peace for centuries, but for exploration and diplomacy. Its systems were designed to accommodate any known life form, its communication arrays capable of translating any language or mathematical sequence. "I've prepared a new transmission," Juwu said. "It includes basic mathematical constants, simple atomic structures, and binary representations of our standard greeting." "Send it," Tejo ordered. The message was transmitted, radiating outward from the Harmony * toward the mysterious vessel. Minutes passed, the tension on the observation deck growing with each moment of silence. Then, unexpectedly, the ship moved. Not away, as might be expected if they were startled or threatened, but directly toward the Harmony *. Its speed was remarkable, covering the distance between them in less than half the time their fastest ships would require. "They're approaching rapidly," Juwu reported, her voice steady despite the unusual situation. "Still no response to our communication attempts." "Maintain position," Tejo instructed. "Let's see what they do." The unknown vessel slowed as it drew closer, coming to a relative stop at a distance that was close enough to show details of its design, but far enough to prevent any surprise attacks. Taejo had to admit, it was a tactically sound position. The thought made him uncomfortable. Why was he thinking in terms of tactics? This was a diplomatic mission. I'm getting clearer readings now, Neri said, her fingers flying across her console. The hull is made of materials similar to our own advanced alloys, but with some elements we don't recognize. And there are structures along the hull that could be weapon emplacements. Weapons. Juan's voice rose slightly. Are you certain? Neri's expression was troubled. Not entirely. They could be scientific instruments or communication arrays, but their design is consistent with defensive systems. Taejo's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of deep thought among his species. Why would an exploration vessel need weapons? Perhaps they come from a more dangerous region of space, Ju suggested. Or perhaps exploration and defense are not separate concepts for them, Juan added. A soft chime from Ju's console interrupted their speculation. Commander, they're responding. The main screen on the observation deck activated, showing a complex sequence of mathematical symbols and what appeared to be atomic structures. It mirrored their own greeting, but with additions that expanded on the concepts they had shared. They understood our message, Neri said, her voice filled with wonder. And they've responded with a more complex version. The speed of comprehension is remarkable. Juwoo's hands moved quickly across her console. There's more coming in. It appears to be a language translation matrix. They're trying to learn our language. How is that possible? Juan demanded. Even with our technology, it takes weeks to develop a working translation for a new language. Perhaps they've encountered other species before, Taejo suggested. Or they have advanced linguistic algorithms. The screen changed again, this time showing a series of images. A planet, blue and green against the blackness of space. Then creatures, standing upright on 2 legs, with 2 arms and a single head. They looked vaguely similar to several coalition species, though their skin appeared to be without scales or fur. They're showing us their home world and themselves, Neri said. Standard first contact procedure. But they've skipped several steps in the process, Taejo noted. They're moving very quickly through the protocols. Another chime, and the screen changed again. This time, text appeared in the main coalition language, slightly awkward but clearly understandable. Greetings from Earth Vessel Defiant *. We come in peace and seek diplomatic relations with your people. Request permission to send small delegation to continue communication. The observation deck fell silent. The message was clear, direct, and in their own language, all within hours of first detection. It was unprecedented. They call themselves Earth Vessel, Juan said slowly. Earth must be their planet, and Defiant the name of their ship, Taejo added. An unusual name for a diplomatic vessel. Juwoo looked up from her console. Should I respond with permission for their delegation? Taejo exchanged glances with Juan, who gave a slight nod. Yes. Inform them they may send up to 5 representatives. We'll prepare the main conference room according to general environmental protocols. What if we can't breathe the same air? Nari asked practically. The conference room can be sealed and adjusted for different atmospheric needs, Taejo replied. That's why the Harmony was built for this purpose. As Ju sent the response, Taejo turned to look at the alien ship through the viewing window. Its dark shape seemed to absorb the starlight around it, giving it an almost predatory appearance. He couldn't shake the feeling that this encounter was going to change everything. 6 hours later, the coalition delegation waited in the conference room. The environmental systems had been set to Earth's standard atmosphere based on the information provided by the visitors. Taejo, Nari, Juan, and Ju stood together, along with Security Chief Sung, who had insisted on being present despite the diplomatic nature of the meeting. The door slid open, and 5 figures entered. They were shorter than Tejo had expected, with smooth skin in various shades of brown. Their eyes, only two each, were alert and moved constantly, taking in everything around them. The one in front stepped forward. Captain Alina Reyes of the Earth vessel Defiant *. Thank you for welcoming us aboard. Her voice was clear and confident, and the translation system had no trouble converting her words. Tejo was struck by how quickly they had adapted to communication. Welcome aboard the Harmony of Stars *. Juan replied formally. I am Diplomat Juan, representing the Galactic Coalition. We are honored to be the first to meet your species. Captain Rice smiled, a gesture that showed teeth, which would be threatening among some Coalition species, but somehow seemed genuine from her. Actually, we've been observing Coalition activities for some time. We felt it was finally appropriate to make formal contact. The statement sent a ripple of surprise through the Coalition representatives. They had been watched. For how long? And how had these humans managed to observe them without being detected? What had seemed like a routine first contact suddenly felt like something much more significant. The humans had brought with them not just questions, but a challenge to everything the Coalition thought they knew about their place in the galaxy. The conference room aboard the Harmony of Stars had been carefully prepared for the human delegation. The temperature was set to a mild 22 degrees Celsius, the lighting adjusted to match Earth's daylight spectrum, and the gravity generators calibrated to Earth standard. Commander Tejo had insisted on every detail being perfect for this historic meeting. Captain Alina Reyes sat at one end of the oval table, her posture relaxed yet alert. Two of her officers flanked her, Lieutenant Minho, a security specialist with watchful eyes, and Science Officer Jihoon, whose fingers occasionally tapped at a small device on his wrist. The other two humans remained standing near the door, their stance suggesting they were guards despite their polite demeanor. You mentioned you've been observing us, Diplomat Juan said, breaking the silence. May I ask for how long? Captain Rice smiled slightly. We detected your communication signals approximately 14 Earth years ago. We've been studying them ever since. Science Officer Neri leaned forward. That's impossible. Our secure communications are encrypted and designed to break down into background radiation after a certain distance. True, replied Science Officer Jihoon. But the pattern of that breakdown itself creates a signature. Once we identified it, we could detect your presence. The Coalition representatives exchanged glances. This was troubling information. If one relatively new spacefaring species could detect them this way, what about others? Let's return to introductions, Diplomat Juan suggested smoothly. The Galactic Coalition consists of 12 species who have united for mutual benefit and peaceful exploration. We have maintained harmony for over 3 centuries. Impressive, Captain Rice said. Earth has only achieved global unity in the last 70 years, and even that remains imperfect. Your species still experiences conflict. Commander Tejo asked, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence. We've eliminated large-scale warfare, Lieutenant Minho explained. But we still have disagreements between nations and factions. Competition is deeply ingrained in our nature. Diplomat Juan's translator struggled with the concept. In Coalition culture, competition was considered a primitive evolutionary stage, something to be overcome through cooperation and shared goals. Perhaps we should discuss your vessel, Science Officer Neri suggested, changing the subject. Our scans indicate technology that seems beyond what a newly spacefaring species should possess. Captain Reyes nodded. The Defiant is one of our newer designs. We've made significant technological leaps in the past few decades. Driven by what? Tejo asked. Necessity, Reyes replied simply. Earth is a challenging homeworld. High gravity, significant radiation, extreme weather patterns, and a surprising variety of natural disasters. We evolved to survive in harsh conditions. The information confirmed what the Coalition's preliminary scans had suggested. Humans came from what most Coalition species would consider a death world, a planet so hostile that advanced intelligence shouldn't have evolved there at all. "May I ask about your ship's capabilities?" Nari asked. Lieutenant Minho's expression became guarded. "We prefer not to discuss specific military technologies during initial diplomatic contact." The word military sent a ripple of unease through the coalition representatives. The Defiant was not just a vessel with defensive capabilities. It was explicitly designed for combat. "Military," Diplomat Juan repeated carefully. "Is the Defiant a warship?" Captain Reyes met his gaze directly. "It's a patrol vessel. Where we come from, exploration and defense often go hand in hand." The concept was foreign to the coalition representatives. Their civilization had evolved past the need for military vessels centuries ago. The last actual combat engagement in coalition history had been nearly 200 years earlier, and even that had been a brief skirmish with a now extinct species at the edge of known space. "Please understand," Reyes continued, seeing their discomfort, "we didn't know what we might encounter when we left our solar system." Caution seemed prudent. "Of course," Juan said diplomatically, though his discomfort was evident. "Each species must chart its own evolutionary path." A chime sounded, and Communications Officer Jiwoo checked her console. "Commander, we're receiving a transmission from Coalition Headquarters. It's marked urgent." Taejo excused himself and moved to a corner of the room to receive the message privately. When he returned, his expression was grave. "I apologize for the interruption," he said. "It seems news of our encounter has spread faster than anticipated. The Coalition Council has convened an emergency session and requests our immediate return to Central Space." Captain Reyes nodded. "We understand. New species can be concerning." "It's not that," Taejo said, though her assessment was partly correct. "There's a political situation developing. Some factions within the coalition are expressing concerns about establishing relations with a species that maintains military capabilities." Science Officer Ji-hoon leaned toward Captain Reyes and whispered something. She nodded slightly before addressing the coalition representatives again. "Perhaps we could continue our discussion en route to your council. The Defiant can match your vessel's speed." Commander Taejo hesitated. Coalition protocol discouraged bringing unknown species to Central Space without thorough evaluation. But these humans had already demonstrated capabilities beyond expectation. They clearly weren't a primitive species needing protection and guidance, the Coalition's usual role in first contact scenarios. "That would be acceptable," he finally agreed. "We'll depart in 2 hours." As the meeting concluded and the humans prepared to return to their ship, Science Officer Neri approached Captain Reyes privately. "May I ask a personal question?" she inquired. "Of course," Reyes replied. "Your species, you mentioned Earth is a challenging world, yet you've overcome those challenges to reach the stars. What drives humans to push beyond such obstacles?" Reyes considered the question for a moment. "Curiosity, mainly. The desire to see what's over the next hill, around the next star. But also a deep-seated need to prove we can overcome whatever stands in our way. Even if that obstacle is another intelligent species," Nari asked carefully. Reyes' expression became serious. "We prefer friendship to conflict, Officer Nari. Always. But yes, we're prepared to defend ourselves if necessary. I hope it never comes to that between our peoples." The sincerity in her voice was evident, but Neri couldn't help noticing that the captain hadn't actually answered her question. 2 hours later, the Harmony of Stars and the Defiant moved in tandem through space, heading toward Coalition Central Space. From the observation deck, Commander Taejo watched the human vessel with mixed emotions. Their technology was impressive, their adaptation to new situations remarkable, but there was something about them that stirred an ancient instinct in him. Something that whispered caution. "They're not what we expected," Diplomat Juan said, joining him at the window. "No," Taejo agreed. "They're not. The council will debate for weeks about how to proceed," Juan continued. "Some will see opportunity, others threat. "And what do you see?" Taejo asked. Juan was quiet for a moment. "Change," he finally said. "Whether we welcome these humans or not, the Coalition will never be the same now that we know they exist." Aboard the Defiant Asterisk, Captain Rice was having a similar conversation with her senior staff. "They're peaceful to the point of vulnerability," Lieutenant Minho observed. "Their ship has minimal defensive capabilities, and their crew seems to have no combat training." "Don't underestimate them," Rice cautioned. "They've built a civilization spanning multiple star systems without destroying themselves. That's a remarkable achievement." Science Officer Ji-hoon nodded. "Their technology is advanced in some areas, particularly in communication and environmental systems. But their propulsion and energy management are inefficient by our standards." "We could help them," suggested Engineer Yuna, speaking up for the first time since the meeting. "An exchange of knowledge would benefit both our peoples. If they're willing to trust us," Minho pointed out. They seemed uncomfortable with the mere concept of a military vessel. Captain Rice turned to look at the Harmony of Stars through the view screen. The Coalition ship was beautiful, its design emphasizing elegance and harmony rather than function. It reflected the culture that had built it, a culture that had known peace for so long they had forgotten what it meant to be truly threatened. "We need to approach this carefully," she said. "The Coalition represents a significant portion of this sector. We want them as allies, not adversaries." "But we can't hide what we are," Minho argued. "Humans are survivors. Sometimes that means being warriors." "We don't need to hide it," Rice replied. "But we do need to help them understand it. The Coalition has evolved beyond the need for military strength. We need to show them that our way of life doesn't threaten theirs." The journey to Coalition Central Space would take 3 days at maximum speed. During that time, both ships maintained regular communication, with small delegations visiting back and forth. The humans were eager to learn about Coalition culture and history, while the Coalition representatives were fascinated by human adaptability and creativity. On the second day, Commander Taejo received a disturbing message from Coalition headquarters. The emergency council session had become contentious, with the isolationist faction gaining support for their position that contact with humans should be limited or avoided entirely. More concerning was the report that several isolationist ships had departed their usual patrol routes without authorization. "We need to increase our speed," Taejo told his navigation officer, "and inform the humans that the situation has become more complex." When Captain Rice received the news, her response surprised the Coalition representatives. "We've detected 7 vessels on an intercept course," she said calmly. "They appear to be Coalition design, but are moving in a formation that suggests hostile intent." "How could you possibly know that?" Communications Officer Ju asked, startled. "Our long-range sensors haven't detected anything yet." Rice didn't answer directly. "Commander Taejo, I recommend we alter course to Sector 47B. It will delay our arrival at Central Space, but may avoid a confrontation." Taejo was about to ask how she knew about the approaching vessels when his own sensors confirmed the detection. 7 ships, moving fast, their energy signatures matching Coalition military reserve vessels, ships that were supposed to be decommissioned but had been maintained for historical purposes. "The isolationists," he said grimly. "They've reactivated old warships." "Warships?" Lieutenant Minho's voice came over the communication link. "I thought the Coalition didn't have military vessels." "We don't," Taejo replied. "Not active ones. These ships haven't been used in combat for centuries. They're museum pieces, essentially, but still functional, apparently," Rice observed. "Commander, we should prepare for possible hostile action." As the Harmony of Stars and the Defiant changed course, trying to avoid the approaching vessels, Taejo couldn't shake the feeling that they were heading into a conflict that would change everything, not just for the Coalition, but for humanity as well. The humans had already demonstrated capabilities beyond expectation. What else might they be capable of if pushed? The 7 coalition vessels appeared on the main view screen of the Harmony of Stars *, their formation tight and purposeful. Commander Tejo had never seen the old warships active before. They had been kept as historical artifacts, reminders of a more violent past that the coalition had evolved beyond. Now they moved with clear intent, their weapons systems powered up for the first time in centuries. "They're hailing us," Communications Officer Ju reported, her voice tense. "Put it through," Tejo ordered. The screen shifted to show a coalition member of the isolationist faction. His name was Doyen, once a respected scientist who had grown increasingly radical in his views about protecting coalition culture from outside influence. "Commander Tejo," Doyen said, his voice cold, "you have violated coalition security protocols by bringing an unknown military vessel towards central space. Stand down and prepare to be boarded." Tejo kept his voice steady. "Counselor Doyen, I'm operating under direct authority from the Coalition Council. The human vessel is here by invitation as part of ongoing diplomatic efforts." "The Council is divided," Doyen replied. "The isolationist faction has determined these humans represent a threat to our way of life. Their ship will be impounded and studied. Their crew will be detained for questioning." Captain Ray's voice came through on a separate channel. "Commander Tejo, is this normal coalition diplomatic procedure?" "No," Tejo admitted. "Counselor Doyen is acting outside his authority. This is not sanctioned by the full council." Doyen continued, his voice hardening. "The human vessel will power down its systems and prepare for boarding. If they resist, we will take necessary action to disable their ship." On the bridge of the Defiant Captain Rice turned to her tactical officer. "Lieutenant Minho, assessment." Minho studied his console. 7 vessels, old designs but still capable. Their weapons are powered but targeting systems are outdated. They're surrounding us in a standard containment pattern. "Recommendations?" Rice asked. "We could outrun them," Minho suggested. "The Defiant is faster than anything they have, or we could show them why picking a fight with humans is a bad idea." Rice considered for a moment. "Let's try diplomacy first. Open a channel to all vessels." When the channel opened, Rice spoke clearly and calmly. "This is Captain Elena Reyes of the Earth vessel Defiant *. We are here on a peaceful mission as guests of the Coalition. We have no hostile intent, but we will not submit to illegal detention. I propose we all stand down and await instruction from the proper Coalition authorities." Doyen's laugh was dismissive. "Your vessel is clearly designed for combat. Your species represents an unknown variable that cannot be permitted to reach central space until properly studied. You have 2 minutes to comply with our demands." Rice closed the channel and turned to her crew. "Defensive options. We could deploy countermeasures to confuse their targeting systems," Engineer Yuna suggested. "Non-lethal but effective." "Do it," Rice ordered. "And prepare evasive pattern Delta. Let's show them what the Defiant can do." On the Harmony of Stars Commander Tejo was growing increasingly anxious. The situation was deteriorating rapidly. Coalition ships had not fired on each other in centuries. The concept of attacking a diplomatic vessel was unthinkable. "Counselor Doyen," he tried again, "what you're doing constitutes an act of treason against the Coalition. Stand down your vessels immediately." "The true treason," Doyen replied, "is bringing a militaristic species to our doorstep. The humans must be contained before they can threaten our way of life." "The 2-minute deadline is approaching," Science Officer Neri warned. Diplomat Juan stepped forward. "Commander, I recommend we position ourselves between the Defiant and the isolationist vessels. They may fire on the humans, but they won't risk hitting a Coalition diplomatic flagship." Tejo nodded grimly. "Helm, move us into position." As the Harmony began to maneuver, the Defiant suddenly moved. Its engines flared with brilliant blue light, and the ship shot forward at a speed that left the coalition observers stunned. The human vessel executed a tight turn that should have been impossible at that velocity, then looped around to position itself behind 3 of the isolationist ships. How did they do that? Jiwoo gasped. Their inertial dampeners should have failed at that acceleration. Before anyone could respond, the Defiant fired. Not the devastating energy weapons that its design suggested, but precisely targeted pulses that struck the propulsion systems of 2 isolationist vessels. The ships immediately began to drift, their main power fluctuating. They've disabled them without destroying them, Nari observed, her voice filled with surprise. Doyen's voice came through the communication system, now edged with panic. All vessels, open fire. Destroy the human ship. The remaining isolationist vessels turned, their weapons charging. But the Defiant was already moving again, executing maneuvers that seemed to defy physics. It weaved between the coalition ships, never presenting a clear target. When it did fire, each shot was precisely calculated to disable rather than destroy. Within minutes, 5 of the 7 isolationist vessels hung powerless in space, their weapons and engines offline. The Defiant positioned itself between the remaining 2 ships and the Harmony of Stars Captain Rice opened a channel to all vessels. This engagement is over. We have disabled your ships without causing casualties. Stand down your weapons and prepare to answer to your own authorities. The bridge of the Harmony was silent as the coalition crew tried to process what they had just witnessed. A single human vessel had neutralized 7 coalition ships in minutes, displaying tactical precision and technological capabilities far beyond anything they had imagined. They could have destroyed them all, Diplomat Huan said quietly. Why didn't they? Because that's not who they are, Taejo replied, beginning to understand. They're not conquerors, they're protectors. Hours later, as coalition security forces arrived to take custody of the isolationist crews, Captain Rice met with Commander Taejo in the conference room of the Harmony of Stars I apologize for the display of force, Rice said. We tried to minimize the damage to your ships. Taejo's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. You have nothing to apologize for. You defended yourselves against an unprovoked attack with remarkable restraint. Still, Rice said, it's not the first impression we wanted to make on your people. Perhaps it was necessary, Diplomat Huan suggested. The coalition has known peace for so long that we've forgotten vigilance. Your actions today have reminded us that peace must sometimes be defended. Science Officer Nari had been studying data from the engagement. She looked up from her console with an expression of wonder. Your ship's performance exceeds anything in our records. The maneuvers you executed should have been impossible based on our understanding of physics. Captain Rice smiled slightly. Earth's gravity is 1.3 times coalition standard. We evolved to withstand forces that would crush most species. Our technology reflects that. And your combat effectiveness? Taejo asked. That level of coordination and precision suggests extensive experience. Rice hesitated. Humanity's history includes centuries of conflict. We've learned hard lessons about warfare, often at great cost. One of those lessons is that the best victory is one that minimizes casualties on all sides. The coalition representatives exchanged glances. The concept of a species that had developed such advanced combat capabilities while maintaining a moral framework that valued restraint was unexpected. The Council will need to reevaluate their approach to human relations, Juan said. This incident has shown that your species is not just technologically advanced, but ethically complex. Will we still be welcome in coalition space? Rice asked. Taejo nodded. More than welcome. I believe many in the Council will now see humans not as a threat to be contained, but as potential allies in maintaining peace. As the conversation continued, Lieutenant Minho entered the conference room. His expression was serious as he approached Captain Rice. Captain, we've detected something unusual at the edge of this system, he reported. a signal that doesn't match coalition patterns. Reyes turned to Taijo. Is there another faction we should be aware of?